In our previous session, we had seen about airfoil. Now let us start off with airfoil terminologies. These are the parts of the airfoil, namely called as nomenclature of the airfoil. Let us study them in details. Airfoil's upper and lower surfaces meet at the leading and the trailing edge of the airfoil. Leading edge. The forward section of the airfoil is named the leading edge. It is the first part that incoming air hits. Trailing edge. The rearmost part of the airfoil where airflow leaves the airfoil. Chord is the length of the airfoil from leading edge to the trailing edge. It is known as the airfoil chord. This often varies down the span of the wing as the wing tapers from the root to tip. Thickness. The maximum distance between the upper and the lower surface is called the thickness. Camber is the measure of the symmetry between the upper and the lower surfaces. Camber is generally introduced to an airfoil to increase its maximum lift coefficient, which in turn decreases the stall speed of the aircraft. This camber line is a line drawn equidistant between the upper and the lower surface at all the points along the chord. Highly cambered airfoils produce more lift than less cambered airfoils, and an airfoil that has no camber and has symmetrical upper and lower surfaces. The image here shows an airfoil inclined to a stream of air. The free stream velocity V infinity is the velocity of the air far up from the stream of the airfoil. The direction of V infinity is called the relative wind. The angle between the relative wind and the chord line is the angle of attack of the airfoil. There is an aerodynamic force created by the pressure and the shear distribution over the wing surfaces. This is called the resultant R. In turn, the aerodynamic force R can be resolved into two forces, parallel and perpendicular to the relative wind. The drag is always defined as the component of the aerodynamic force parallel to the relative wind. The lift L is always defined as the component of the aerodynamic force perpendicular to the relative wind. In addition to lift and drag, the force pressure and the surface pressure and shear stress distribution creates a moment M which tends to rotate the wing. If we take the moment of the leading edge, the aerodynamic moment is designated as M to the subscript LE, which means leading edge. It's more common in case of subsonic airfoil to take moments about the point on the chord at a distance of c/4 from the leading edge, the quarter chord point. This moment about the quarter chord is designated as M to the subscript c/4. Generally, moment up along the leading edge is not equal to the moment along the quarter chord point. Intuitions will let us know that the lift, drag and the moments on the wing will change as the angle of attack changes. Variation of these aerodynamic quantities with angle of attack represents some of the most important information that an airplane designer needs to know. We point out that although the moment along the leading edge and the quarter chord point are both the function of alpha, there exists a certain point on the airfoil which moments essentially do not vary with alpha. This point is called aerodynamic center. The moment about the aerodynamic center is MAC. So these were the other basic terminologies that you had to be aware about an airfoil before you get into the problems. I hope you would have understood today's session. Let us start off with the airfoil details in the next session. Thank you.